Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to ZBrush Live. Crazy week, but decided to do the stream anyway. All right, so please like and subscribe, and leave a comment. These really help us, really help me, especially if you like. And definitely subscribe to the channel because that will help you. And so you can be notified of when there are new streams from all the ZBrush Live streamers. And there's a lot of different people streaming a lot of great stuff. So make sure to tune in. And if you have any questions, you can ask them live in the chat. And if you are watching this after the fact and you have questions, leave them in the comments or get a hold of me. I'll probably show you in the video on how to do that at some point. But if you watch any of my videos, I usually show my link tree and my website and all that stuff. So you can ask me the questions there. And so if you can hear me okay and see my screen, please go ahead and let me know in the chat so we can get going. I'm going to make a few changes here. I'm going to try something new. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but while I'm waiting for you guys to chime in, I am going to change the background color. Oh, that's not right. To like an orange. Let's do that here. Something like that. Oh no, that looks horrible. Well, I mean, let's see if I change the color of the gun. It's not bad. What do you guys think? Anybody want me to stick with this background color, or should I go to a gray? Let's go to a gray. That's the extent of my adventure potential. All right, so I'm still waiting for somebody to let me know if you can see my screen and hear me on YouTube or Twitch. There are a few differences today in the stream. One of them is I'm using my full UI. So even though I'm broadcasting in 1080p, I'm actually showing my 4K screen, and that just makes it easier for me to work because I've got everything where I know where it is, and also it is I think it's kind of more indicative of how I work instead of me, like looking for some of the keys that I have over here or over here. And also it makes my screen bigger and I don't have to do the AA half and all that good stuff. So, but I would definitely like some feedback on that too. If it's working for you or not, let me know. And what we're going to do today, I don't know if I want to stick with the gun or if I want to move to the robot or do something else. I'm still kind of in the middle of deciding that, but let's go ahead and put the robot over here just to let people know what is going on. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, so let's do this and Shift S to snapshot. That basically just creates a snapshot of the robot. I think I have clicked to solo on. Yeah, and also, let's put the gun up here too because we're working on that as well. And I don't know if I'm going to do the gun or if I'm going to do the robot today. Probably a little bit of both. Why not? Let's just put this kind of in the robot size. Kind of let's simulate it kind of being in his hand. Like this. That's what we want, is we want some, AI-driven killer robot. How about that? All right, I think I'm just going to put this over here, like this on the bottom. It's a good place for it. Let's Shift S that as well. Oh, no, that's not what we want. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to do something in here. And I'm just going to do this one. Okay, just 1 second here. I'm going to bring up this page just for 1 second. I'll be right back. And all right. So somebody is asking me if TBH02 is, and I don't, why are you calling yourself TBH? I wonder. To be hired or to be honest? Oh, your name is To Be Honest, and you're the second To Be Honest person. And your question is, would it be easier to do hard surface modeling in Maya? And so you have asked this question so many times as an audience that I think I'm going to create a Stream Deck animation that kind of happens every time this question is asked, because the answer, in my humble opinion, is no. I think that if you are doing hard surface modeling in Maya or Blender, you don't have some of the freedoms that you do in ZBrush. And I'll just, I think a good example of that would be, I guess I'll start with the gun. Why not? Is that there, if you're just, if you're given a concept, if you're given a 2D concept and you're supposed to model that concept, and you're given isometric views of it, which are basically left, right, top, bottom, whatever, and the concept designer has done that for you, and you're going to model it, or if you have pictures or something and you want to model something existing in Maya, and that's kind of the way that kind of a lot of the workflows in game companies and movie companies or whatever works, is that they basically, the concept designer does all the concepts in 2D, and then it's brought into Maya, and then the modeler models it. However, some of the top-end concept designers, some of the top-end movies like Avatar, like I don't know, like Alien Covenant or whatever, some of the concept designers there, they design in 3D. And I'm actually doing it right here, where you basically see that if I look at this piece, for example, this piece is a hard surface designed piece that basically looks pretty hard surface. It's determined. I kind of used ZModeler to do it. But here I'm trying to do the top part, but I don't really have an exact idea of what I want in this part right here, right? So I'm going to solo it out. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically just kind of concepting and figuring out what this looks like. And as soon as it gets done, I can use the ZBrush tools to model it. And some of the things in ZBrush, the hard surface modeling tools, especially ZModeler, and also, I don't know if you guys have seen it, they've shown videos of the upcoming retopology tools that they're going to have. I think that modeling, to me, it is a lot easier in ZBrush. Now, also, I mean, if you know Maya, actually, it's pretty hot. I'm going to take my jacket off. If you know Maya, it's a different animal than knowing ZBrush, because you can't really do. I mean, you can do sculpting in Maya, but you can't do multi-million polygon sculpting in Maya. Blender is adding some capability to do multi-million polygon sculpting, but in my opinion, if you're designing hard surface stuff, you can. It's better to design them in ZBrush. And I'll just give you some examples. I mean, I'm not just talking from my head here, but I've done a lot of these designs all in ZBrush, and they're all hard surface designs, and they're all done 100% in ZBrush. So, for example, this mech right here, hard surface mech, this is a kind of a non-photorealistic view, but here it is, right? This is done in ZBrush, right? This is done in ZBrush as well, and rendered in ZBrush. This is done in ZBrush, rendered in Keyshot, rendered in Keyshot again. So, I mean, yeah, you can do hard surface in ZBrush, and you can do concept design as well. I can also do characters in ZBrush, so these characters are all made in ZBrush. You can do vehicles. So here's a spinner that I designed in ZBrush. So all these are done 100% in ZBrush. These are rendered in Keyshot. So yeah. And this is a line that I did at the ZBrush Sculpt Off in 2015, where I was the third place winner. And I did this in 3 hours in ZBrush as well. It's hard surface. So yeah, I mean, you basically formulate your opinion based on that. Unfortunately, a lot of people still think that, they kind of want to follow the older ways of doing 3D modeling, hard surface modeling with Maya, but I think ZBrush personally is a better way to go. Now, for the good news, I have a mech here that I designed and modeled mostly in ZBrush. And here it is. And this was a Gnomon title. So it was a Gnomon workshop title, designing a pilot combat mech. And this is no longer available on the Gnomon channel. They basically retired it, and mostly probably because I use VR in it, and I use Oculus Medium, and I think they're trying to get rid of titles that are using older versions of software. But the good news is the title comes back to me, and I'm making it available for free on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, and here I'll just do that real quick. If you go to my YouTube channel, which basically is youtube.com/user/Kermaco, I'm releasing 2 of the videos every week. So what I will do is I released chapter 1 and chapter 2, so you can go watch those. Chapter 1 is how I do my reference gathering, and it's super useful. I think this video right here on its own merit, just 37 minutes. If you spend watching this, it will really help your reference gathering, especially if you do hard surface or design tanks or mechs or guns or things like that. And then I also have this chapter, which is how I work in VR. Now this is using Oculus Medium. Oculus Medium is no longer available, but it's become Adobe Substance Modeler. So you could use Adobe Substance Modeler to do exactly what I'm doing here. And tonight, after the stream, I'll be posting chapter 3 and 4. So I'll be posting 2 chapters every Friday until I run out of chapters. I don't know how many chapters it is right off the top of my head, but I think it's somewhere around maybe 12 or 15. I'm not sure. Okay, so here you go. You can watch me design this mech right here in hard surface using Oculus Medium and also using ZBrush. All right. So while I'm here, I might as well do a couple other things. Definitely follow me on Instagram. This is where I basically post all my latest work. So here this is my latest alien that I did in ZBrush. So you can kind of see here, I've got him in different poses. And then I have 2 of them here in a composition. And this is still not completely finished, the alien, but I'm still working on some sort of composition, maybe these 2 in a spaceship, something like that. And then I have a bunch of other stuff. This is done, again, hard surface, done 100% in ZBrush, rendered in ZBrush using Redshift, right? Okay, and then I have a whole bunch of other things. You can follow me here. But the reason why you want to follow me on Instagram is so you can get back to my Instagram easily. And there's my link tree. If you click on my link tree, these are all the different links to my YouTube, my ArtStation, Instagram, my Gnomon Workshop. I still have one on there. My portfolio, all that stuff. My Twitter, all these are on here. And lastly, I also have a Gumroad, again, which you can get to from here. And in my Gumroad, I've got a IMM Primitives brush that you can get for free. I also have a $5 version of it. This is kind of like giving me a tip. And if you do that, you get some extra brushes in the IMM. So this is the Pro Kit. And I've got a kind of slide here that shows the extra parts. So you get these extra parts all polygrouped and all basically modeled. So if you're going to use like a T pipe or a 3-dimensional pipe, or a lot of these have incredible uses. I mean, you can always make these from scratch in ZBrush, but it's nice to just have them as a brush that you can just pop on. And I also have 2 Pro brushes. One of them is cylinders, cylindrical shapes. And these are super useful if you're going to do cylindrical objects. And we will use some of those in what we're working on now. And then I've got another one that's like loops, and these have 185 different loops that you can use in different thicknesses, and you can get these as well. Okay, so definitely go to my Instagram and definitely follow me, and also make sure that you click on my link tree and get all my links so you can get to them to follow me there. Is there a way to get into the directory in ZBrush? The directory, what do you mean the directory? I'm kind of trying to figure out what you're talking about as directory. You mean the list of parts, like this kind of thing over here? Maybe you might want to elaborate on what you're saying by directory. Okay. All right, let's get back to this, and I guess we'll just do, we'll just kind of continue to work on this part right here. Oh, Lightbox? Yeah, Lightbox is this what you're talking about? Yeah, there's always a different directories, that's right. So there's the parts list over here. The thing is, ZBrush only has one folder level, so you can only go down you can group things into one folder, which is good and bad. It's good because it really uncomplicates matter, but it'll be good to have folders within folders within folders, like you do in some other programs. But, you know, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I've been okay with just having one folder. And also there's Lightbox, where you basically have directories to different things. So, for example, if you want to go to all the different brushes, they're all listed here. All the different textures are listed here, materials and whatnot. Now, if you're like a super power user, there's also another tool that you can get, and I think it's free or for a nominal fee, and that is XMD Toolbox. And if you click on that, oh, I do have it installed. What the heck? Let's just, okay. So let me launch it from here. Where are you, XMD Toolbox? Here you are. I think maybe I needed to do like some sort of an installation, but XMD, no, okay, please restart ZBrush. I'm not going to restart ZBrush, but I basically will show you that with this tool, you basically have another directory of all the different options. So, yeah, so if that's what you mean by directory, if you mean something else, let us know what you mean, and then we can answer that question for you as well. So, yeah. All right, so here I'm just basically very roughly kind of designing, you know, thinking about like, okay, how would I want this to look? You know, none of this is really set in gold. It's just some ideas of how I would want this to look. This kind of top part, and I'm thinking I'm going to put a site over here, and see. Clip curve is a really good way to kind of cut into your model. So here I'm just going to do this for this part, and I don't know if Tributor, I don't know if you are still with us, because I still want to hear your idea of what you mean by directory. Right, so here I'm just masking this part, inverting the mask, trying out different ideas. And this is Dynamesh, by the way, so it's not like precious geometry, it's just stuff I'm messing around with to see how it would work and look. And I've got a silhouette of it here, which is really useful. This is this part here is really super useful. You're interested in objects that could produce something. Okay. You mean like primitives? Is that what you're asking about? Again, I need you to elaborate in a way where I can understand what you're trying to say, my friend. Because, you know, like what kind of an object are you talking about? Right, so again, here just kind of trying out some ideas, different things. Hey Sheriff the Watcher, how's it going? Thanks for joining us live. Get some music going on here. I'm listening to the old, I mean not old, but Tron Legacy soundtrack. Oh, that's why that was weird. I've got perspective on. It's always good to do this kind of stuff with perspective off if you can. Okay, so the question, Casey is saying while holding Control and Shift for clip curve, okay, and also holding the space bar, yeah, you can move it, that's right. bring up menu to select polygroup. It's a great way. It allows you to remove that polygroup and rebuild a nice new Dynamesh face. Okay, so I'm while holding Control Shift for clip curve, also holding spacebar. Are you talking about, I think you're talking about this, right? You're talking about this and having polygroup on like that. Yeah, that's correct. So that's a good tip. So basically what that means is, like right now, this whole thing is one polygroup, right? So you can see it here. Let me just solo it. So this whole thing is one polygroup, and if I want a different polygroup, let's say I want this part right here to be a different polygroup. I did that wrong. Let's say I want, this part to be a different polygroup like this. Right? When I let go, this is now a different polygroup, right? And then if I want to, I can just do, I can either use the groups polish smooth brush, or I can just do here, I can go to deformation and say polish by group. Where are you? Right? And if I do just a little bit of this, it just kind of makes this nice and crisp, and then you can remove it. So yeah, that's a very, very good tip, and I'll use it since you brought it up. The thing with ZBrush is it has so many amazing capabilities that it's, sometimes you can reach the exact same result with a different way of doing it. So here I'm also going to do the top. So now notice that the top has its own polygroup, right? And I think I have my smooth by groups here somewhere. Where are you? Smooth groups. Yeah, so I'll show you how to do the smooth groups thing as well. So now as I'm smoothing, you notice that the groups are being smoothed, right? And then if I want to just pull this part out, I can just go and Q mesh it out. So if I go to the ZBrush brush and I just make this brush smaller and just say Q mesh, where are you? Here you are, and polygroup island, let's say. Now I can just click on here and just pull this part up like that. See, so that creates a really nice kind of hard surface thing on top, and then I can just smooth this even more to get a nicer, right? So this kind of creates some really neat hard surface edges. And then if I want to get these corners more crisp, I could have just used a clip brush. I can actually do it still now. So I'm just going to isolate this part, go to the top, and if I want this to be straight, I can just use the clip brush to do exactly what I did before. It will mirror it, do it on both sides. So now I've got, I think I've got my smooth curve pretty strong here. Let me bring it down a bit to about there. Okay, so this, I can just smooth this part out and get more of a crisper edge on each side. So yeah, there's some really, really cool things you can do with polygroups, with the clip curve mask. But right now, I don't even want to get into that part of it. I don't really want to get into that part of it yet. There's somebody asking me questions in Russian, which I need to bring up. I don't know if it's Russian or if it's a different language, but let me bring up Google Translate so I can figure out what you're saying, my friend. Where are you? Okay, here. Right, Google Translate. I think it would be really nice if you could like if this chat thing that we've got here could do the translation for us. So maybe that's a feature they can do in the future. All right, so let's see, control. Okay, this is just asking me for the language, translate from. I don't know what the language is here. I'll just enter the text. Okay, so you can type your stuff in Russian. That's fine. I'll just use Google Translate to translate it for me. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much. See, I love technology. I do. Just the mere fact that I could do what I just did is just a miracle, really. All right. So let's bring out all this up. Let's hide the poly. We don't want to transfer it. Let's hide this. So now I'm basically just going to use. Here's kind of like a really wild way of doing this. I'm just going to choose a sculpting brush like the Clay Tubes brush, which is just basically a. What do I think of all the AI mess out there, and would have that feature on YouTube? Well, you bring up a really interesting subject, and I have some pretty strong ideas about AI, and I don't mind talking about it more. There's so, like AI is no longer just one topic; it's just so many topics. I think a lot of times when I hear it in this kind of context, when I'm working, I think that maybe you're talking about what do I think about generative AI, or what do I think about AI in general. I think AI in general as a technology is really, really neat. I think it's an awesome thing when used in science, when used to do things that we weren't able to do before. I think that's a really cool thing. So that's what I think about AI in general. Now, as far as generative AI is concerned, where basically you just type in a prompt and it generates an image for you. So, like for example, if I spent maybe a few hours on this gun, but if I could just type, give me a futuristic-looking gun with the with the designs of like this artist or that artist, or based on this real thing, and it just generates 50 images for me, and I basically narrow it down to one that I like. That to me is really not an exciting way to work, because even though it might be giving me something that's good and I might be able to use it, I just don't feel like I'm creating it the way I want it to. And even though you can go in and say change this and change that, I find personally that it doesn't really give me exactly what I want. So the problem is the good enough problem is the problem, and that is that like some art directors and some business people that just don't have any taste or don't have any artistic background can choose something that they think looks good, but it doesn't, and but they figure I'd rather use this than have to pay an artist and spend time with the artist figuring out what we want to do and all that. So I've kind of gotten bored of using generative AI. I actually started using it, and you can see on I'll bring up my Instagram. You can see here on my Instagram that I did have a little AI phase. So if I just go back in time here, I started experimenting it pretty early. So I started using, here we go, I think we're getting close. Yeah, I started using Stable Diffusion early in the AI days. So this is kind of like from here. So this is done in ZBrush right here, this guy, right? So this is sculpted and rendered in ZBrush. And so then Stable Diffusion came out, and I was like, yeah, this is totally cool. And then I started experimenting with it, and I started getting like a lot of likes. You can see here, like, this got 37 likes, but then this got 58 likes. And then as I go on in time, it's like these things are getting more and more likes and more attention. I was like kind of cool, and I was generating these cool images, and I thought they looked nice and everything like that. But then, like, I had really no control over these. I was just typing stuff and getting stuff, and it looked cool. If I got 100, then I just basically made a few on my own. And then after that, Midjourney came out, and so I made Heaven and Hell in Midjourney, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, whatever. Right, and then I made this in AI. I made this in AI. Of course, everything that I'm showing here in AI has been edited in Photoshop. This was done in AI as well. And edited in Photoshop. And then this was done in AI and edited in Photoshop. But then I thought, this is cool, I want to make it in ZBrush, which I did. And if you look at my cam view over here, that's what that is. So if you watch one of my older seasons on ZBrush Live, is when I basically took the AI image and made it into this actual three-dimensional object that I could rotate and look around. And in those days you couldn't do it. Nowadays you can. So anyway, I kind of went here. This is AI as well, and I think this is the end of it. No, I did some more. I did some more with Midjourney. I did a couple more here. I did some Batman here. Again, all of these are edited in Photoshop. They're not straight out of the prompt. I don't know why this is not coming up. There's this. I did some geishas, which were pretty neat, But again, I had zero control. All these are edited in Photoshop. Again, I never will post anything just right out of AI. And I got bored, and then I went back to ZBrush again. So then all of these are in ZBrush. So here's that character modeled in ZBrush in transparent view, rendered in Keyshot. And then I just basically, AI got boring for me, and I just kind of stopped using AI. And all of these are done in ZBrush again. So I don't know. I mean, you know, it's an interesting technology. There's definitely some advantages to it. I know some studios are starting to use it more because they want to see if it can do things. But I think also they're starting to discover that it's not delivering. Oh, for translating languages. Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's great. I think I think, you know, language translation is just going to be pretty kind of standard coming up. I mean, the new AirPods, not these ones, but the new ones that Apple came out with will automatically translate. If somebody speaks in a different language, it'll automatically translate it for you. So I think language translation is going to be a pretty, you know, I think that's going to be like a, I don't know if you guys watch Star Trek, but I think it'll be like the universal translator. Sorry, I went down the tirade of generative AI. I know it's a kind of a hot topic with a lot of the art community. There are people that like it. There's people that hate it. There's most people, I think, are kind of upset about it. I don't think the fan base is that big because a lot of there's a lot of artists that are looking for work and they're not finding work. And they are thinking that it's because of AI, which partially it is, but it's also because of other reasons as well. But I think that's all going to change. I think eventually, you know, I think it will get back to I think, you know, AAA games will not use AI for their characters. They will still have artists design it. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was more interesting. It is more old AI was more interesting. I think it was interesting because it was new, but now it's not new anymore. So it's not really like if I go to Stable Diffusion now, I'd be like, okay, whatever. I've been there, done that. Gave away the T-shirt. So yeah, no, I don't think the new AI is, you know, I don't think old AI is more interesting than new AI. With new AI, they're coming out with a lot of interesting stuff. I do follow some artists that do AI work on Instagram, and I mean, they're doing interesting stuff, but again, you know, like, I think if I look at my feed and I see some cool AI robot or whatever, I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. But then if I keep looking at it, I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know. This looks wrong and this looks wrong. And there's no way to go in and fix it unless you have the prompt and you know. So, yeah. All right, so you can see here that I'm just basically just, you know, using all sorts of different brushes, trying to get an interesting shape of this top part. And then once I have it the way I want it, I will use the tools in ZBrush to get it to the topology I want it to. I'm not using a mouse. I'm using you have a Cintiq tablet. I used to use a regular Wacom tablet as well, and I could use either. I don't have that disassociation issue, but Cintiq is nice. And I'm using a pen. I do use the mouse sometimes, but I would recommend using ZBrush with a tablet. Definitely use it with a tablet. There's some great ones. Sense Labs has some great tablets that are pretty neat, and I personally really like Wacom tablets just because I've been using them forever. And then I also have a Wacom feature that I use, which is this radial menu that comes up. But there are other menus like this that you can get that are not specific to Wacom that you can use on any pen display. And pen displays are getting less expensive, and there's a whole different size and it's a good investment. I mean, at least get a tablet. It's a very good investment. The Wacom tablet I had was like a tank. It lasted like 10 years, and I still have it. I just haven't used it unless I'm on site or something where they don't have a Cintiq. All right, this is starting to look good. I think I'm going to extend this. So see, here's like a pretty good example of like how ZBrush is really cool. I kind of want to extend this all the way to the back here. Okay, and then redynamesh it, and there it is. So I'm kind of thinking this is looking cooler. The industry is in a slump. It's in a really, really Acadian. The industry is in a really, really bad slump. It's horrible. It's just, like work is dismal right now. I know some amazingly talented artists that have worked on amazing movies and games, and they're all out of work right now. People from ILM, people from all sorts of companies that have done amazing work, and they're all kind of in a slump. And it's not just this business, it's like all businesses. I think they were showing that job loss is significant. It's just hitting significant records. People are laying off. I mean, I just heard that Amazon has created robots that are going to do its warehouses and stuff, and they're going to lay off 600. They're going to replace 600,000 employees with these robots. So yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, it makes sense because they will save a lot of money. But from a jobs perspective, all those people have to do other things now, and I have a feeling that there will be a lot of adjustments that need to be made. And I think the world is hoping that, just like we adjusted to the Industrial Revolution and all the different revolutions in the past that have changed things, they're thinking this is going to happen the same way. But this is on a whole other scale, though, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, it is very boring. It's totally like, I really like, I mean, I type a prompt, images come up, I choose an image, I start refining it. Some AI tools now allow you to actually draw some things and specify some things on it or whatever, but I'm never getting what I want, and every AI advertisement or video or whatever I see, the thing is, it's good, but it's not there yet. It's good, but it's not there yet. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, if somebody hired me just to do AI work, I think, and if that's all I was doing 24/7, I don't know if I'd want to do that job. And also, why would they hire me? They could just hire anybody to do it. So, yeah. All right. Service for hard service, you can easily do hard service, but for organic modeling, a tablet is a must. Yeah, no, you can. I would say even for hard surface. I mean, right now I'm basically, this is like clay sculpting, right? And I don't know if you guys know, but a lot of like Italian cars are clay sculpted before they are made. Like Ferrari is really known for that. That's why Ferraris look different, and they have really neat curves. I mean, nowadays they probably use Bezier curves or whatever to do it, but in the day they basically just used clay. And even now, if at Art Center, you can definitely see that clay is still a thing. They still make the car in clay before they actually manufacture it, just because it gives them a better idea of what it looks like. And that's kind of an older workflow, and I think it just will continue. So I would say, yeah, you could do hard surface with a mouse if you're just using ZModeler, but if you're using sculpting tools like I'm doing now, I think you definitely need some sort of a tablet. Okay. So AI is replacing humans, but who is going to buy this? Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, but then you can't think of new technologies with old paradigms. And what I mean by that is, who cares if somebody buys something? Like, right? I mean, right now the world kind of works in a consumeristic kind of way. But what if that's changed? What if nobody cares? Right? So let's say Amazon replaces everybody with robots. Then Amazon will probably lose a lot of customers, because all those customers now who used to work are not making money, so they're not buying stuff from Amazon, right? I think that's what you're trying to say. And if they're not buying stuff from Amazon, like, how is Amazon going to make money if nobody's buying anything from it, even though if it has these amazing robots that are doing the procurement and the inventory and all the stuff that they're doing. And that's a very good point. I mean, that's a very valid point. So I don't know. That's a very very interesting point that you brought up there. All right. I don't think 3D artists will get replaced. I really, I mean, I don't know. I've seen AI software that makes 3D models, and you know, I'm not that impressed. And you know, maybe it'll get better, and maybe, you know, it will grow to do certain things in a different way. But again, it's like, it's the process of doing it. And also, I mean, this kind of comes to the answering the question that somebody asked before about Maya doing hard surface. It's not that Maya does hard surface or whatever, but I don't enjoy doing modeling and concept design in Maya. I just don't. You know, Maya is like a very production-like tool, and I do know Maya really well, and I work with Maya all the time at you know, and on freelance jobs. So I'm not dissing Maya, but I'm saying that I enjoy working this way a lot more than I like working on Maya. So I don't think 3D artists will get replaced. What I think it'll happen is that, you know, there will be jobs that require you to use AI, and there'll be jobs that require you to use ZBrush or other tools. And, you know, it just depends on what you want to do. Personally, if I had, you know, if there were two jobs that I was up for, and one of them paid more but it was AI, and the other one paid less and it was ZBrush, I probably will take the ZBrush one, because at the end of the day I would feel better about how I'm creating the stuff, and I also will feel better that I'm not using a tool that is kind of, you know, stealing. I mean, there's that original sin too, that's stealing the work of all artists and learning from it, when the artists and people are not really getting anything for it, right? So it's not possible. No, you can get a wet effect. Why not? So here, like for example, if I wanted this kind of to look more wet, I would choose, and I can just edit the material, or I could choose a different material, which is probably what I'll do. I'll choose, like, let's say I'll use, how about, where are you, toy plastic, right? I mean, this kind of now looks like it's made of liquid, right? I mean, it looks, the specular is a lot more. I mean, this is a hard surface object, of course, but if you have a blobby object or whatever, I mean, here, I'll do one. Let's say I have a floor. Here, let me just go to another tool. Let me go over here, right? So let's say what I'm going to do here is, let me turn the floor on like this. Where are you, floor? There you are. Okay, and then I've just got this star, and I'll just move it up here. And I don't really want to model the star. I just want to do a really nifty trick. You guys will like this. I'm going to go to my primitives brush here and just choose like this really, let me choose the sphere, right? So this is my sphere, and I'm just going to go to the middle of that, and I'm going to create an insert mesh brush with the sphere. So just go over here to create insert mesh, we'll create a new one, and now I've got an insert mesh brush. And what that means is, like, if I have that brush that I just created, if I go here, I could just be drawing that brush out. And I think here I probably need to change a few things here. Maybe change the focal shift to 0. Let's see if that makes it more. No, I don't know why it's creating it flat, and I also don't know why it's putting a bunch of them down. I just want one, so let me try this. Okay, yeah, here we go. But I don't know why it's flat like this. I think it's because of I think it might be because of Z intensity. Yes, probably Z intensity. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so now I've got that, and now I'm going to do something even different. I'm going to say, okay, what I want to do is I want to spray this. So now I'm just kind of spraying all this stuff like this, okay, and it's still looking like, you know, wet in a way. And then what I want to do here is I just want to take this whole thing and Dynamesh it like that. Well, let me unmask it and Dynamesh. And this is just all one subtool, by the way. So now that just basically fuses it all together. And now what I want to do is I want to drop this on the ground. So what I'm going to do is just use dynamics. Let's see, how dense is this thing? Not too dense. Let's make it one polygroup. Okay, so I'm just going to go to dynamics here. Where is dynamics? Right here. And I'm just going to say, okay, we've got gravity. What I want to do is let's just drop this down on the ground. It's going to recognize the ground, and also I'm going to say I want this to be liquefy, so it looks like a liquid coming down. So here we go. This thing is kind of coming down. It kind of almost looks like it's a liquid, right? And that's about good, about simulation. Oh. Yeah, let's go to a smooth here and just smooth this thing down. Here we go. I mean, this looks like a kind of a liquid, kind of maybe ice cream on the ground or something like that, right? And the reason why it looks like it's a liquid or shiny is because it's got a very strong specular. And if you light this correctly, you can get a really good, you can get a really cool kind of effect with it. And you know, now you can just basically pull and push on this thing. So I've got the move brush selected. I can just kind of go, okay, do that. And if I want this to fall on the ground even more, I'll just run the simulation again, right? And it just, you know, here we go. And if I continue to run it, I can continue to kind of make it seem like it's ice cream on the floor or something like that. Melted Marshmallow Man, there you go. Yep. Here, let's paint some. Here we go. Let's fill this object with the color, and let's switch the color, and let's just say, okay. Oh no, I'm melting. There we go. There you go, melty Marshmallow Man right there. Okay, so yeah, so you can get liquidy effects. I mean, it's not really, you know, the simulation here is not like liquid simulation in other programs. It never claims to be, but you can do a lot of really neat stuff with dynamics. Totally nice way of doing this kind of stuff. All right, let's switch color. Let's go back to the original material here. Let me see if I can pull this off. Here we go. Okay. And I don't need this anymore. Delete that. Okay. And let's go back to our gun. I kind of wanted to work on the robot today, but I guess we're working on the gun. That's fine. Let's turn off the floor. We don't need it anymore. There we go. Okay. You could use transpose cloth too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good, good, good. Can you use ZBrush productively with a mouse? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you're working in production. I would definitely say no. I would definitely say if you're working in production and you want to be fast and effective and be able to use all the capabilities of ZBrush, I would say I wouldn't use a mouse because it would mess up your hand. Even Maya, I use Maya with a tablet as well, by the way. So I would say no. I would say definitely get a tablet. However, here's an interesting one for you guys. So the person who created ZBrush, Ofer Alon, uses ZBrush with a mouse. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, that was new. That's a newly added capability. The spray, the drag dot is there too, and drag stamp. These are all new capabilities for the insert mesh brush in ZBrush. So if you have an older version, it might not have those capabilities, but I don't know what version they added it in, but you can find out, I guess. But yeah, no, it's pretty neat. You know, I mean, it's great for like a lot of stuff. I don't know. I'm just going to go on another tangent here. Sorry, guys. But it's really cool for like doing like, you know, let's say I've got a tree of some sort and I don't know. Let's see if I've got one. I've got a ZTL of a tree or something like that. What do I have here? What's this? Leaf. Okay, well. All right, let's go ahead and load this leaf. All right, so I've got this leaf here. And what I'm going to do, let's make this into some sort of a tree. Let's say I've got like this kind of a thing. Let's say this is a tree. And here's another nifty trick, by the way, if you guys didn't know it. So what I can do is, like, I want this to be tree. I can do it this way, where I just basically make a copy of it, use Control to just drag a copy off. What's going on here? Hello, is it masked? Okay, I'm using Control to drag a copy off, and then just move it back, rotate it. This is one way of doing it. I could also use Array Mesh to do this exact same thing. Move it back in and rotate it. And I'm not really being too precious with this. Oh, I've got symmetry on. Sorry. Okay, and then bring this over like this. And do that. And then again, do another one. So all I'm doing is just using the control key to make a copy and then just moving it back and rotating it. So let's say this is going to be my really fancy tree. Look at that. Oh, such a great tree. And then what I'm going to do here is just dynamesh this whole thing into one. Okay, so it's one dynamesh tree, and this is like an alien tree maybe. Let's change the color to a lighter color so we can see what's going on here. So let's choose this green that it has, but not make it so dark. And then let's fill object. Okay, so let's say I've got this tree here, right? And let me do some other things here. We basically do this. And let's say I want to create a forest with these trees, right? Well, let me do some other thing here. Let me just run a simulation on this and inflate it. Let's see what we get. Oh, look at that. Some interesting cactus-like tree. Maybe that's a little too much. Let's turn gravity off and inflate it. Okay, here we go. And then let's deflate it or contract it. All right, so we got this weird cactus-looking thing here. And let's say what I want to do is I want to make, like a environment with this. So again, I'm just going to do this with it. And then go to brush. Oops, not material. What the heck? Can I undo this? No. All right, I'll just choose a different material. Let's choose, I don't know, I'll choose basic material 2. All right, so here's my tree. I just turn it around this way, go to brush, go to create, insert mesh. Okay, there it is. And let's create a new one. Okay, so now I've got this as an insert mesh, right? And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go and load a plane like this, plane 3D. Where are you? There you are. All right, let's say this is the ground, and what I'm going to do here is just make sure is double on. It is. Let's make a polymesh 3D with this, okay? And just gonna rotate this around so I'm looking at it from the top. Okay, so I can see this is the bottom because I've got my cam view over here, and what I want to do is look at it from the top. So I'm just going to rotate my cam view so I'm looking at it from the top, and then what I'm going to do is just give this thing some thickness, which might be easier than just rotating it. So I'm just going to say dynamic on, no smoothing, but a little bit of thickness. That makes it into 3D object. There it is. And what I want to do, let's see here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what I want to do is, this is maybe my ground, and let's kind of paint it with a brown color, maybe something like this, fill object, and then let's go ahead and change our color back to the green color, something like that. And then let's pick our tree brush, right? And so if I draw this out, I just draw one tree. Yay, how beautiful is that? Okay, so but now if I want to draw multiple trees, what I'll do is, multiple tricks here. First one is I'm going to go ahead and turn on spray. Now if I do that, it's just gonna, it's gonna do that. It's gonna put the trees, like 100 of them, and that's not what I want. I mean, that's kind of actually pretty cool looking, by the way. Just to let you guys know, just TBH, this is pretty cool looking thing that just happened by accident. So happy, but that's not exactly what my intention is. I don't want so many of them. So I'm gonna reduce the flow here down to, not 0, but just like maybe like a very low number. Like maybe that. Okay, so now if I'm putting them down, they are being put down like that. Now the sizes here are a little bit different, so that's because the scale here is at 1. So what that means is, give it to me in different scales, and I just don't want it that. I just want them all to be the same size. Okay, now we got that. Now there's still too many of them, right? I don't want this many here, so I want to reduce it even more. So to do that, what I'm going to do is turn on lazy mouse, and also turn on the lazy radius. And by the way, all these things are in stroke, so like all the lazy mouse stuff is in the stroke menu right here. I think there it's in, all right, let's see here. If you don't know where something is in a menu, if you hold control on it, it tells you it is under stroke. I was right. Need to stop doubting myself. Okay, here lazy mouse is right under stroke. So all these things, I put them in my own menu here because I use them all the time. Let's turn perspective on because plane looks weird without perspective. And now I'm just going to choose my brush here and then just, oh, too big. And just kind of drag this way. And that puts less of them, so now I kind of get more of a foresty look. right? And you can do this with grass, you can do this with like all sorts of like buildings, bricks, whatever, and then you can very easily create a really cool thing like this. And if you don't want the trees all to be the same size, you can always go in here and just bump up that scale a little bit. And you can also, you know, say, okay, give me like, you know, give me some, you know, vary the color as well. So here I'm just basically popping these down, and there they are, different sizes, and can create a really interesting background in like almost no time. Yeah, I'm getting that from Paul, the tangent thing, and yeah. So I think I'm going to ask him for the Lisa Needs Braces and the tangent graphics that he's got on the good old Stream Deck. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty neat. Like, so I mean, this is like a very, very cool way to just create all sorts of things. You know, you can do that, or if you want to do like, you can use any insert mesh brush for this. So if I go to, I don't know, I'm going to use my cylinder brush kit here. So this is kind of all the cylinders that are in my cylinder IMM brush, and let's say I want to put a bunch of screws randomly, and that's kind of a weird thing. I don't know, like let's pick you know, like this thing right here. How about that? Okay, and then I'm basically, you know, change the stroke to spray again, and same story, right? You can create like a really interesting pattern like that, you know. Right? So this could be a background, and then you can just choose all of these and make them taller. So this could kind of be another type of a interesting design that you could create. So yeah, I mean, you know, there are tools to do this kind of stuff in other DCCs, but ZBrush I think does it really well. Of course, there's nanomesh, there's array mesh, there's all sorts of ways you can do like, you know, multiple things. But anyway, enough on this tangent. Let's get back to, I feel like I've done very little work on the subject matter at hand, so I'm going to switch back to that. Okay, all right, let's get back to... This is another thing that's cool about ZBrush is you can just have multiple tools available. It's, oh, no, don't crash. Please don't crash. No! Oh, okay, didn't crash. Okay. Right, what's going on? Oh, here, cancel. Okay, delete. Oh, that's why it's saying it's undoable operation. All right, I understand. Thank you very much for warning me, ZBrush. We're back on track. All right. Actually, it's pretty stable. It had an issue with the Wacom driver. I think I had a few issues a few streams ago, but a lot of it is not there. Yeah, I'm going to try and do more tangents if I can. If you guys ask me questions, just to get more people to, you know, participate, which also makes these streams a lot better if you guys are chatting. And the sad thing is that on my so basically what I do is I stream for Maxon on ZBrush Live on a Friday, and then I stream on my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, not YouTube channel, actually, sorry, I just Twitch on my Twitch channel the other Friday, and then I post the video on YouTube. So here, for example, let me jump back to, where are you, to here. Like if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see here that I've got videos that are, you know, like this is the last one I did, right? So what I do is I stream it on Twitch, and then the following day I put it on YouTube, right? The other thing I should also mention is I've got playlists while I'm here. So I've got, for this designing the mech, I've got a playlist for it, and I've got also a playlist for season 1, which I'm basically doing an organic model there. I'm doing a dragon. So if you guys are interested, you can go watch that afterwards. But the reason why I'm saying this whole thing is because I would, you know, I wish some of you would tune in and chat during those as well, because it definitely makes it more interactive and more fun for everybody. But I don't care. I mean, this basically, my Friday night is my ZBrush night, so whether I'm, you know, I like working on my own personal projects, so if I'm working somewhere, you know, at least I get to do my own thing. That's what happens with a lot of artists, is that they basically start working, doing this stuff, and then they don't do any personal work, which is tragic. And partially it's because, you know, if you work somewhere, they give you the equipment for it and you don't have your own. But the good news about ZBrush is it doesn't really need that much. And also, I mean, it's available on the iPad too, so you can have just like an iPad and be using ZBrush. And it's pretty close to the desktop version. It's getting closer and closer and closer. They put ZModeler on, like just in the year that it's been out. They've done so much to it. And they just announced it on Snapdragon as well, so it's available on so many different platforms. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I want to create a cut-in over here, but I don't want it to affect the rest of the model, so I just masked it. And then here's my cut-in, and yeah. All right, so again, this is still Dynamesh. This is still not ironed out, and I'm still kind of doing design on the gun. All right. Yeah, so, you know, the folks that were saying can't, you know, do this in Maya or whatever, I can't do this kind of stuff in Maya. It's pretty, you know, Maya's never been meant to be a concept design tool. It's just meant to be a modeling tool, more of a production modeling tool. And actually, modeling is new to Maya. Maya's key strengths are animation. The animation tools in Maya are what made Maya Maya. So I think that's mostly what people use it for. And but there are some super modelers in Maya. I have some good friends that are amazing Maya modelers. So, but again, they're production modelers. They're not concept designers. All right. Dude, I'm much older than 40, and no, I don't think it's too late. I think if you want to learn it, learn it. And if you want to learn it, I think the best thing to do is to, I mean, there's a lot of learning resources. If you look at the notes for this, it links to Z Classroom, and it links to Cineversity, and those are two kind of, I don't know if Cineversity is free, but I definitely know that Z Classroom is free, and there are tons of learning ZBrush videos on YouTube, and then there are better quality ones, of course, if you want to pay a little bit of money. I like Maddie Spencer's introducing ZBrush videos that are on the Gnomon Workshop. She does a really, really good job of she does a great job of explaining ZBrush from scratch. And I would definitely recommend, if you're starting new, either start with that or start with the Z Classroom, and then just, you know, it's just like anything else. You have to spend the time. But yeah, I don't think at 40 you have any problems with it. I mean, you know, I think partially why I like doing this is because I could do it forever. And I probably will be like, you know, an old person in an old person's home doing this kind of stuff. And I'll be perfectly happy doing that. It's something you can do forever. All right. Is my Twitch link in the description? No, it's not. So if you want to get my Twitch link, again, the best thing to do is go to my Instagram, right? And if you click on my link tree, it has links to Twitch, it has links to YouTube. So this is the place to go. My LinkedIn. I even have a Blue Sky account. How about that? My Twitter. I should, you know, change the name to X, I guess. But yeah, all this is definitely here. And I also have a QR code here if you're viewing this on mobile. So yeah, there it is. And you can also join, I guess, now. Every time I go to these websites, they have new stuff. You know, I can't keep up anymore. All right. Yeah, I don't think there's a ceiling at all. It's just like a painting, right? I mean, you know, you can't, like, there's no, you can't speed run, you know, being a painter. You do it forever, and it's fun. I was watching something today that made me laugh. They were saying, well, you know, if AI takes all the jobs, what's everybody going to do? And I'm like, well, if there's no jobs and I'm getting some sort of universal base income or whatever, I'm not going to have any problems keeping busy. All I'll be doing is ZBrushing. And yeah, so which is kind of, it's funny that came up today, and that's kind of what I was thinking when I was watching that. I don't know though. I think there's some value in working for humans, so I think that's something that AI is kind of taking for granted, that humans will be like, oh, okay, I don't have to work anymore. But I don't think that's true. I think people like working. There's something to be said about being useful and doing a job and working with people. I think all that is something that really is vital. Okay, so I'm going to do something really interesting here. Again, this is a Dynamesh model, and I'm going to do something really interesting here, which is use live booleans. And what I want to do is create like a little kind of grill over here. So what I'm going to do is just take this piece that I have. And I guess all this is in one folder. I'm just going to, where are you? Here you are. I'm just going to duplicate this thing. So I have a copy of it that doesn't have the grill. I'm going to take this out of its folder. Okay, let's do that one more time. Take it out of its folder right here, and then put it in a new folder, right? And I'm going to call this folder bool because it's a cool name. And what I'm going to do here is just add to this, I'm going to add another part. So I'm just going to append. I'm using append because it's going to be at the end anyway. I'm just going to append with this star, and I'm going to use my primitives kit to just bring in a cube. Like, let's bring in this one. Why not? Okay, so if you press W, right, and then click on this, you can just click on the cube, and it will replace that star with a cube. All right, so I'm just going to move this over to the side, mirror and weld it. So there's one on each side, and then I'm just going to make it thinner. Something like this, and then move it over here, make it taller, and bring it around this way, like that. Okay, that's good. And then just bring it in. Okay. Oh. Now it's not working because I don't have symmetry on. Once I turn symmetry on, it's going to work perfectly. So I'm going to bring it in about maybe this much, right? And maybe make this a little bit thinner, like that. Okay, and now I want a bunch of these, so there's different ways of doing it. I'm going to use kind of a different, I could use array mesh for this, but I'm going to do it an easier way, which is I'm going to hold control down and drag out a copy, and then let go of control, and then as I move my mouse, it will continue to create copies of it, right? So that's a good number right there. Okay, and then what I want to do here is I just want to have these be subtractive. So here in the subtool list, I'm just going to say subtract, and then if I turn live booleans on, it's just going to do that. Look at that. Bam, done, right? And then I can move all these out to see how much of the depth I want of this thing. And I think that looks pretty good right there. And then, okay, so I'm happy with this. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this little gear here next to the folder, and I'm just going to say Boolean folder. And now I've got the part right here as just one part, and then I'll just move this part back into the gun, and yeah. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to redo this later, but notice I've got polygroups here, and I can always here, I'll do it. Let me, I kind of wish that I had all these other parts as one polygroup, but it's fine. So I'll do it later. And I'll spend one, I'll spend one episode on just how I retopologize this. But yeah. All right, so we got this going on. And again, I'm just still polishing this piece. Again, it's all Dynamesh, still not a finished thing. I mean, here's another nifty thing you can do with the clip curve brush. Oh, the person who was asking, how do I learn ZBrush? Here's the thing. You're going to be really frustrated when you start. I'll just say that right off the bat, because there's just a lot of stuff to learn. But you don't have to know everything the first day you use ZBrush. It's not one of those things where you just know everything. I mean, it's taken me years to develop this custom UI. I change it all the time based on new things that I learn or new workflows I develop. And also, I also want to mention that excuse me, that you know, it's frustrating at the beginning, but if you give it enough time, if you just basically devote the right time to it, I think you will get to the point where, you know, things start to make sense. Another thing that will happen is you will kind of find a niche. You'll find your own kind of thing that you like to do. I mean, you might like to do hard surface. You might like to do maybe organic sculpting, or, you know, there are I mean, if you subscribe to the ZBrush Live channel, there are people making food. You know, there's Patrick 4D. He does food stuff with ZBrush. And then there are people that are doing jewelry design. So they design jewelry. There's people that do figurative sculpting. There's people that do all sorts of things. So, you know, you'll find your own thing that you like to do, and you'll use that. But it's easy to get frustrated. It really is. Interestingly enough, I teach ZBrush in colleges too. And I get two kinds of students. I get some that hate Maya, like they just basically are reconsidering what they want to do in college just because they've used Maya and they just can't get a hang of it. But for some reason, they love ZBrush, right? So, you know, you might be one of those people. You might be one of the people that goes like, oh, you know, I've tried Maya, I hate it, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you try ZBrush and you're like, oh, you know, this is not too bad. This is how I want to work. So, yeah. And then there are people that know Maya, and then they use ZBrush, and they're like, "Oh, you know, what is going on here, and why is this way, and why is that way, or whatever." So, you know, it takes all types. All right. So Casey Forrester 4613 is saying he does it all. So you mean you do ZBrush, you do Maya, you do everything? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying you do hard surface and you do jewelry and you do... I'm kind of not understanding the context of your all. If you could elaborate, that would be awesome. All right. Okay, this is beginning to look cooler and cooler to me. I'm liking it, and I think at some point I'm going to have to basically... At some point, I'm going to have to basically like just say, okay, this is good enough, and just be happy with what I got, and then just start retopoing. And I think I'll do that. I don't know, I've got enough time. Maybe I'll retopo today. How about that? Right. What I'm trying to do is I want this to be, you know, like, see how it's kind of curved? I want it to be straight. So what I'm going to do is invert the mask, put the gizmo here like that. And just find the kind of the surface that, you know, orientate the gizmo in such a way where it's going to be that surface that I want. And then I'm just going to use the scale tool to do it. However, right now it's doing it kind of on both sides, even though I've got activate symmetry on. So what I want to do is turn on local symmetry. And I might need to do one more thing here, which, yeah, I do. I just need to check off dynamic here. And I just want to straighten this out. So here we go. Now it's completely straight, and just move it back and forth until I have it be where I want it to be. Like that. And then I'm just going to polygroup everything else. So I just have a polygroup on everything, and then I'm just going to smooth the edges. Let's see. Am I going to participate in the Sculpt Off this year? So I guess I should spill the beans here. So there's two Sculpt Offs, and let me see here. ZBrush Summit 2025, and let's see, they had the list earlier, but I don't know if they took it down or what they did. Events, Sculpt Off. So they're going to have two Sculpt Offs this year. There's going to be two, right? So there's the Sculpt Off that's just basically anybody can join, and that's a really cool one. And if anybody is an intermediate ZBrush user, I definitely would say do it. It's fun. It really is. It's like 3 hours of pressure of you having to do a sculpture. And the topic this year is kind of more fantasy, which I'm kind of cool with. But the other thing is there's also another one, another Sculpt Off. And let's see if it's under presentations, or let me see where it is. I think they took it down. They had it before. Okay, so all right, so there's two. So there's the past competitors live Sculpt Off. So this one is from 9 a.m. to 12, and so here's I'm in it. So I am going to participate in this one. Now I don't know if all of these people are going to be in. I'm not sure if they are, but it's going to be a Sculpt Off of past Sculpt Off winners, right? I won 3rd place in 1 year, so I'm here. And there's some amazing artists here. Like, I can't believe the pedigree of all the artists here. So there's going to be that Sculpt Off from 9 to 12, and then there's going to be the public live Sculpt Off from 1 to 4. So the answer to your question is yes, I am participating in the Sculpt Off, and I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know if I'm just I love stress, but yeah, all things considered, I will be doing it, yes. And if you guys want to watch me live, I'll be streaming it on my Twitch channel, and then of course they will be posting them individually, I think, on their channel at some point. I'll probably also post it on my YouTube channel. Same topic. Right, you're saying robot didn't skip leg day? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think I think they kind of made it. I think that's kind of the reason why they did this, is because they basically wanted to have it be kind of a little bit more fair. So you are competing, Acadian. You are competing in the Sculpt. That's great. That's awesome. Good for you. I know that after doing the Sculpt Off, I definitely got better just from all the all the pressure, especially the first one. So that when I did the Sculpt Off, it wasn't live. Like, I couldn't do it from my home. I had to actually go to where the ZBrush Summit was, which was the old Noman campus. And it was pretty, we're all in the same room, it's kind of like, taking an exam basically. And it was pretty stressful, but, it was fun. And honestly, the topic is really kind of cool, and I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do, but a lot of the artists that do this, I don't know if I should be saying this, a lot of the artists that do the Sculpt Off usually kind of have an idea of what they're going to do. And I am so, I don't know what the word for it is, but I like to go in with having some idea, but I don't want to do something that's practiced. I mean, of course I'll be, I'll do some practice. It's not like I'm going into it completely unpracticed. But what I get finished, it's not going to be something that I've already finished before. So I'm basically creating as I go. And that gives me a rush that I really enjoy. And I might be crazy for doing that. It might reduce my chances of winning. But I think it's more genuine if I do it that way. All right. If this was a mech Sculpt Off, I think I'd have a much better advantage against some of the people that are on there. But it's, it's more of I guess one of the topics it could be a hard surface topic. If I do the object, like if I do an axe or a sword or something, but that'll be too easy. I want to challenge myself. I haven't decided exactly which one I'm going to do either yet. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to do the character. I have a feeling that that's going to be pretty popular. But I also think a lot of people might be doing the prop as well, because that's easy. I don't even know who the judges are yet. I'm curious to know who they are. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think that would, that would be an interesting, that would be an interesting version of a sculpt off, is like, go in blind. But then, artists couldn't gather reference. I mean, it would kind of be a crazy spin-off. It's almost like there's a, it's kind of almost like reality TV in a way. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this area. I'm kind of having a hard time with it. I need to look at reference just to kind of get some sort of grounding. All right, there's always got to be some. Hey, I'm just adding you to block list on Restream chat. How about that? Okay, so Hoghue 8780, you're asking me what this pie menu is. So this is Wacom. It's a Wacom thing. So if you have a Wacom tablet, or if you have a Cintiq like I'm using here, this is the pie menu that comes with Cintiq. And so what I've done here is, there's a pie menu that launches a pie menu, and then also I've got pie menus that launch menus, right? So here, if I click on this, that basically brings up a ZBrush menu, right? So I've basically mapped this to a key. So this here, I think, is Control 1. Control Shift 1, I'm not sure, or Control 1. Yeah, it's Control 1. So I basically mapped this to Control 1, and then this menu pops up, and then I've got a menu that pops up for Control 2, Control 3. And what I've done is I've just basically mapped this to Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, and that's how I'm using it. So it's just a Wacom thing. But I think there is one that is available that is not a Wacom. You can look for pie menus that will work in any program, and basically just it's doing keystrokes. But this is something that I've used forever, and I really like working this way. Oh, 2018 was the tarot cards were a surprise? Really? I didn't know that. Was that an online one, or was that in person? I forget. I remember, I don't know which one was the last in-person one. That could have been in person. That could have very well been in person. And if they are in person, then they tell the artists, but they don't tell the audience. But now, since it's anybody can do it, they have to tell the audience. Otherwise, like, it would be a lot of administration to basically have people sign up and then individually notify them and all that stuff. They probably want these things to be as automatic as possible. All right, I'm still struggling with this area right here. Let me look at my reference. I'm sure I'll find something interesting to do there. I mean, one thing I could do is just leave it blank. I don't know why. Yeah, all right, I'll do it. I'll do that. Sometimes overcomplicating things has the exact opposite effect of what you're trying to do. All right, let's go in a little bit deeper here. All right, so here I'm just masking this outside part. I'm just going to put the gizmo here and do the same thing I did earlier. Hopefully it'll work. I still have just a tiny bit not masked over here. There we go. All right, straighten this out, bring it out like this. Still is a part that's, oh, here we go. It's this inside part. Oh, I have these AirPods on. I'm not listening to music. I started to, but then you guys have been really communicative. So when I do my stream, sometimes there's nobody, right? So all I do is just listen to music and sculpt. I'm not even, I mean, I say a few things here and there, but I'm not even talking. So some of you, please watch my Twitch streams. It's going to be next Friday. I think next Friday I'm also in a, oh, yeah, I should mention that too. So next Friday, let me go back to the browser window. Okay, and then if I go to YouTube, Maxon YouTube, here, Maxon. If I go to the Maxon YouTube site, Maxon ZBrush, I should say. Okay. So if you go to the Maxon ZBrush YouTube page, you'll see, I'm doing my live thing here, but if you go to live here, you'll notice that there's this Halloween stream, which is next Friday in the morning, right, at 10 a.m. PDT. So I'm going to be participating in that. So it's going to be a bunch of us kind of doing Halloween stuff. So yeah, but I also have my own personal stream that night. So that Halloween's going to be a busy streaming day for me. I might not do my stream. I might just not do it that night. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do it? Yes, no? All right, now this is looking pretty non-hard surfacey, so a good way to kind of get it to look hard surfacey is just get the edges to work. And I'm just doing this with the Damien Standard brush. Okay, so my channel, again, the best way to get to it is just go to my Instagram, click on the link tree, and it has my Twitch channel right here. I think it's just twitch.tv/Kermaco. They still have my old video. Okay, so either write down twitch.tv/Kermaco or just go to my, follow me on Instagram, and then the link tree is there. Look at this, no new followers. What is up with you guys? Why aren't you following me on Instagram? You should be following me on Instagram so you get the latest and greatest. I'm kidding. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but it'd be nice if everybody here followed me on. Oh, you already are following me. Well, then that's a whole other story. Even better. Even better. Also, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, right? That's another thing you should do if you haven't done it yet. So just go to my channel, which is youtube.com/@Kermaco. And if you do that, you can subscribe to me here. I'm at 840, which is nice. I'd like to get to over 1,000. So tell your friends, tell everybody. Because if I get to over 1,000, I think they'll pay me something. Right now, I don't get any money from it, but that's fine. I'm not going to monetize, I'm going to try to unmonetize my YouTube for as long as I can, so you guys don't have to watch stupid ads. God, you know what I think? Here, like a little bit, all right, thank you. Oh, Henry, hey man, I'll see you tomorrow if you're going to be at Lightbox. I should mention this too. So Lightbox Expo is happening in LA, and I'm presenting at the ZBrush booth tomorrow. So much going on, like, I don't know, it's crazy time. But if you type Maxon Lightbox, if you go to Lightbox on Maxon, where are you? Now they're doing videos here, which is nice, but if you go to their thing here, here's their schedule. So tomorrow I am presenting at 4:30 p.m. I'm just doing a live demo. You come by, say hi if you're going. And I'm also doing it at 12:30 on Sunday, right? So much activity. Oof. I think people are going to be sick of me by the time this thing is over. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they are sold out for tomorrow, Henry. They are. I'm happy that they are. I was kind of worried that there weren't going to be a lot of people at Lightbox this year. But I'm really happy that it is sold out. I'm really happy for Bobby. And yeah, Lightbox is really neat. If you're in the LA area, you know, definitely, you know, it's one of the good conventions. So is Monsterpalooza. I always enjoy going to those too. Yeah, it's kind of wild that it's sold out. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I got my tickets earlier, so I don't have a problem. But I had a friend of mine that didn't have a ticket, but I had another friend that had an extra ticket, and luckily that happened. You might want to ask around, Henry. You know, you might be able to, if you really want to go on tomorrow. I think, you know, I think you might be able to find one. Hit up some of the friends that you know. They might have extras. If you have any vendors that you know, they might have extra tickets. All right, I'm really like spending all of my time here doing this. Okay, speaking of Henry, I don't know if you guys know, he's with us here. Henry is just like the most amazing hard surface modeler in ZBrush. Like, he just takes it to a whole other level. And if you haven't watched his videos, I'll do a shameless plug here for Henry. If you go to the Maxon ZBrush channel on YouTube, look up his presentation. So just look him up, Henry Scherbenka, and I think if you just go to videos, you can probably find it, and they have it here. That's Pro Projects. Where are you, Henry? They should have your thing kind of right on top somewhere. But he did a couple of hours with Paul, where he went through and showed his hard surface models, modeling techniques, and I learned so much from that. Even, you know, like, there's so much I didn't even know. And he's also done the car. So if you go to Lightbox here and go to Project, I'm not going to load it because it's going to override what I've got so far, but I'll show you guys. If you go to Project and go to Pro Projects, he did this car right here, the Z-Ride, and it is unbelievably cool. And he's also got an IMM brush in ZBrush too. So if you go to Lightbox and go to Brushes, and I think there's a Pro Projects one somewhere here. It's probably alphabetical. Here we go. He's also got a really, really cool, I think, is it this one? I think it's this one. Yeah, he's got a really cool IMM brush with like all sorts of really cool parts, really good topologically sound parts. I should use one of these on the... you need to make one of these. You need to update your brush with the new logo. But let me see here. Like, there's some really, like, if for example, oh, here we go. Here's one I could use, like this one right here, right? So if there is a thing on the gun that controls like the way it fires, you know, maybe like over here, I don't know, somewhere over here, right? So here we go. Bam, done. Right, and it's good topology too. So check it out. Let me separate this out first. So I'll just say split masked points, so it's its own thing, right? So here, look at how good the topology on this thing is. It's just like really, really good topology, and I just would have to do just a few things to get this to be what I want it to be. So here, I'm just gonna go. Is this subdivided? No, it's not. Okay, so what I want to do here is I just want to delete. Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, let's let it autosave, and then I'll do it afterwards. Yeah, Acadian, if you're looking for hard surface techniques, Henry's videos are, you know, gold, basically. They're really, really good. All right, what's going on here? Why can't I delete this edge loop? Oh, no. I did a snapshot, so I have to start. All right, that's fine. I'll just control end thing. Okay, what's going on with this? Why can't I delete? Oh, because I am. What brush am I on? Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to be in ZModeler. And here we go. All right, so I'm just going to delete these two edge loops right here. And then I just want this to be pulled in. I don't want it to be that wide. I guess it's two subtools. I didn't even know that was the case. Oh, it's not, right? I guess. Oh, look at this. It's such a well-made thing that it's got an inside part. Man, Henry, you blow me away, dude. You are so good. You are so good. It's not even funny. All right, so the best way to do this, I guess, is just to put the gizmo over here and just do this. I just want to make this part thinner. Like that. All right, and I don't want this on both sides, so I'm gonna remove the symmetry and remove one side, right? And so I guess I can make this just a little bit thinner here. Let's delete hidden and do this. Here we go. Right, so and then maybe a little bit smaller, right? So there we go. I mean, he did this really cool IMM brush. If you have the new versions of ZBrush, you just get that, and I'm probably going to just use this exact thing right here because it just works for this topic, this subject matter, right? Maybe not so thin, maybe something like that. Okay, and this probably like switches the gun from automatic to whatever. So yeah, definitely watch Henry's YouTube video if you haven't. If you're a hard surface person, you will at least learn one thing, if not like 200. And I watch it over and over again. That's the other thing too. Like, it's always a good idea to watch videos while you're working because it helps you learn. So like while I'm sculpting, I usually have a YouTube video going on the other monitor. There's amazing artists and they all have amazing techniques. Oh yeah, no, it's I have a I mean, also in the pro projects, there's also Motorcycle, which is pretty cool, done by Pitch Dev Studios, and designed by Scott Robertson, and that's a pretty cool model you can load as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm working on a car in ZBrush. I haven't finished it yet. Coming soon, I guess. But I think Henry might have seen it, but I don't think anybody else has seen it. It's a little bit of a different concept, but yeah, I mean, Henry's car is pretty neat. Love it. Okay, I think this is good enough. I'm liking this. All right, so now I got to think about how do I create a retopologized version of this. Now the good news is I've got these slats already, so I can use them. So I'm not really worried about this area over here. I can redo that. He did do a good job on the motorcycle. That's correct. So did Scott, by the way. The designer is Scott Robertson. I don't know if you guys are aware of him. He's like an amazing designer. He's written the How to Draw books, which are, should be in every artist's library. And How to Render is another book that he's done. And he's got some amazing books, and he's got amazing art. He's got a long history of being just an amazing designer. He's a good friend also. Henry, I'm going to see did you see him today at Lightbox? Did you guys arrange to go to dinner? You guys were going to do that. I don't know if I should be talking about this on the stream. Maybe you and I can have that conversation offline. But I'll see him tomorrow for sure. Are you going on Sunday, Henry? Because I'm going to be there on Sunday. If you are, it'll be cool to catch up. And I don't know why we still have to get together. I don't know why I so brain fart and not make this thing happen. I guess we just get busy and get on with our routines. But yeah, we should definitely hang out. Okay, all right, so now to do the retopology, I'm just going to this is going to be interesting to do in this way. All right, so the way I usually do it is I'm going to basically get that part back out, duplicate it. I'm not going to have too much time to do this retopology today, but I'll get started. And I go a little bit longer too. I'm kind of having fun. You guys have been a good audience. I really enjoy it when the audience is really, you know, has a lot of communication. Okay, so here I'm going to retopologize this, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the ZModeler, and I can go ahead and set up ZModeler to do what I want it to do. But actually, there is a version of it that is already there. So I'm just going to go to Lightbox here, go to Brushes, and go to ZModeler. Where are you? Where are you? There it is. And there is a ZModeler topology brush. I'm just going to load that one in, okay? And what that will do is it just has all the different things that I need. Now, I'm not going to, you know, I need to actually do this a little bit differently, where I just actually need to have a starting point. Now, for the starting point, what I usually do is I load my IMM brush, my primitives brush, and the first one here is a plane. If you don't have my brush, you can get the free version. If you don't want to get the free version, what you could also use is the one that's in ZBrush. They do have a primitives brush as well, which is good, but I think, you know, mine has some extra things like polygrouping and definitely some extra shapes. But I think there is, yeah, here they are, IMM primitives. So you can use the ones that come with ZBrush, these two, or you can go and download mine, which I would recommend. And if you want to download mine that has the extra pieces, it's only $5, and it's kind of like, you know, I haven't set up a Patreon, but it's kind of my way of getting tips, I guess. All right, so here I've just basically added this plane to this surface, and now I've got two things. And if I clear the mask, then they will kind of be in the same thing, which I don't want it to be. So what I'm going to do here is say split two parts. I'll just say split to similar parts. Here we go. Okay. So now I've got this gun part as one subtool, and then this one is the other, right? And this is going to be what I'm going to use to retopologize. Okay. So I'm just going to go to that same ZModeler topology tool. All right. And here, what I want to do first is just get this to, you know, if you turn on transparency is good. Another trick that I like to do with this is I like to go to, I'm sorry, I'm doing the wrong thing here. I like to go in and add, I turn dynamic on for this. I don't want to smooth it, but I do want a little bit of thickness, right? So this will make it a little bit easier for me to actually see what's going on. And then here I just move this gizmo to the center and find a good kind of place for it to be. Okay, that's good. And here I'm just basically going to work on the outside part. So I'm just going to move this to align it with there, and then I'm just going to choose this. And by the way, what I'm doing here is I'm just using Control and dragging, and then if I press Alt, it's going to mask everything else except that one point. Oh, let's make sure this is not Dynamesh. All right, here we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to move again, just mask this point, and then just move what is going on here. Okay, and then I'm just going to move this. Again, I'm just using the gizmo to get it here. And by the way, this is something that you could do with a mouse comfortably, and sometimes it might even be better, but I'm just going to use my tablet to do it. And so here we go. I think this is good, and then I'm just going to move this up. Again, I'm not really worrying about like the subdivisions here. I'm just worrying about like where the borders are for these things. And then when I go to edge here, it will extrude an edge. And notice here that it will snap onto the gun itself. And I don't want it to do that really, so I'm just going to do this. Here's another trick that I don't know if you know. If you mask this, if you hold Control down, why is it not working? Hello. It should work. You can just extrude that edge. Why is that not working? Okay. That's interesting. You should be able to like just hold control and then extrude that edge down, but for some reason it's not working. I don't know why. Huh. All right, well, not a problem. What I'll do here is just for kicks, I'll just go in and turn snap to surface off. So free move, and I want it to be parallel, right? So now if I do that, okay, what I want to do here is extrude, edge, parallel sides. Okay, it should work now. Okay, here we go. This is what I've been trying to do this whole time. Not a big deal. All right, and then let's just do it one more time here. Okay, and now I'm just going to mask this part. And again, all I'm trying to do here is just, you know, create. And doing this with the gizmo is a lot easier. I think I keep like going into this area. Right. And bring this over like that. Okay, so now basically I'm just kind of creating some pretty hard surface, you know, very straight versions of where I was. I know these edges are sharp, and now I'm going to do this again, go up. But in this case, I do want it to snap to surface. I'm going to go ahead and say snap to surface again, and I don't know if parallel sides will work. I guess it does. Okay, here we go. All right, so there's that, and then I'm going to do this way until they connect, and for some reason it's hitting something, so here we go. Okay, I just think I had the camera angle wrong. Okay, so now I'm just basically very slowly starting to add the topology, and again, I'm not really worrying about anything else except just getting the general shape down. Yeah, if you're there on Sunday, it'll be cool if we can hang. That'd be awesome. Okay, so here I'm just going to change my brush size and move this over. Again, just very simply doing it this way. Now, this is one way of doing it. Now, Henry probably has a different way of doing it. He's probably thinking right now, well, I would just polygroup all the surfaces and do it that way, and that's another way to do it. So here I'm just manually doing it, and I'm just manually doing this for nostalgic reasons. But I will also, because this is going to get so much better, I think, because they showed, I think you've seen, I don't know if anybody's seen the videos, but they're adding some retopology tools that are going to be pretty cool. Right, so now I'm just going to close this off like that. Okay, so that's one way of retopologizing it, right? So you just basically start doing that and just building it out, right? And then I'm going to do another one like this, right? And then this one I'm going to move in, you know, move this over. So this is basically just hugging that surface, and you know, and little by little I'll build it out, right? So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you just select the part. So here you just go to that like this, and solo here I'm going to turn transparency off. Let's hide this thing. Okay, so here's the entire part, right? And why is it so dark? Oh, because the material's dark? No, let's just fill it with white. Oh, it's masked, that's why. Okay, so the other thing you can do here is you can go in here. First thing I'm going to do is just create one polygroup with everything, right? And then I'm just going to say, okay, well, what I want to do is I want to take every surface that's here and have it be a different polygroup, right? So with polygrouping over here, you can just go in and say, okay, well, I want to group by... where are you? By normals, right? Let's just do that. Okay, so that's just going to create one polygroup for everything. Just because my normal angle here is 45, you start reducing that to it again. And now you're getting some different polygrouping like this, right? And, you know, something you can do here is you can say merge straight groups. So now you kind of get rid of those like little speckly things. And if you play your cards right, you can probably get like this whole top part to be a polygroup, and then each one of these edges to be, and then again, I don't really care about this area over here because I still have the slats and I can subtract it. And so, I mean, you know, you could use this method as well. And if you want to learn more about this method, you can go to, again, my, where is it? YouTube channel. And in my YouTube channel, from ages and ages and ages ago, I have a video which has had 20,000 views, which blows my mind away. 10 years ago, I did this with ZBrush 4R7. And so you can kind of get some idea of how to do it here. And if you even want a better way to do it, watch the Henry's video on YouTube, because he does a really good version of it. Okay, so I mean, this gave me a good start, right? And what I'm going to do here again is just like, you know, there are these like polygroups that are kind of stray groups here. One thing you can do is you can let me see if this will work. You can go to deformation and maybe polish by groups, or polish. Let's try polish by features. Let's see what we get there. Okay, so we're getting a little bit better features here, and then let's go ahead and do the polygrouping again by normals. Again, we're getting some of those funky things, but again, let's go ahead and merge the stray groups, getting better. Again, I don't really care about this area because I'm going to do it again. But I'm getting something a little bit better. Still not ideal, but not bad. Not bad. And so the idea is, once you get to a certain point where you don't have as many groups and it's kind of all done and said this way, you can just go ahead and go to ZBrush, and I'm just going to do this from the menu instead of my own personal menu. And I'll go to ZBrush here. So make sure you have keep groups on. Make sure you have detect edges on. And you know, one thing you can also do is crease PG if you want to get creases on the edge. But let's see what this gives us. This is going to be an adventure. So, and let's just hit ZBrush here. All right, well, this is not really good. So let's try something else. Let's go ahead and say we want half of the polygroups. Okay, well, I mean, that's a little bit better. And then we can also go ahead and say polish by features again. And continue. I mean, this is, you know, you could get to something acceptable again. And if this is going to be a small gun that's not going to be viewed up close, this method might work. But you could probably do this manually, and probably would be a better way to do it. And maybe what I'll do is I'll leave this as is. And then maybe we can use the new tools that they're coming out with to retopologize it. So I don't know when that version is going to come out, but maybe we'll hold off on the gun until we get to that point. And again, this jumbled up mess over here is kind of, you know, not a good story to tell. But you can always, like, you know, select that part, like mask it off like this, and press Control W and just have all that be one polygroup. And this topology here is pretty messy. And you could probably, like, I could probably go to an older version of this and get it straightened out and then re-boolean it. But yeah, so I think I still have the polish by groups on for this. And another nice trick here is you can use AccuCurve to just kind of get these angles to be sharper. And I mean, for this, it's not really, I'm not really married to the kind of the exact shape. So I could, you know, I could even, you know, let me solve this out again. I could even, like, you know, get some interesting features just by, you know, using, getting happy accidents just by using this capability. All right, so there's that. And then let's see what other kind of polygroups did it create for us. It would have been nice if this kind of, there was an edge here. So another thing you can also do, by the way, here's another, you know, pro tip. Lisa needs braces moment. So good. I should get his graphic. Paul's graphic on this is pretty funny. And then go to Paint. Where are you? Paint. Or no, Polygroup. Sorry, Polygroup. And then you do brush size here. Where are you? Brush size. Brush. Brush radius. Here we go. And what you can do is you can just kind of... why is it not doing it? Oh, here we go. Of course, it's got to give me some poly. Okay, I can just hit Alt. All right, so you see what's happening is as I move this brush on the surface, it's giving me that polygroup. My brush is too big. I'm going to make it smaller. That's good. And then just click, 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 click. Oops. I'm going to turn allow click to solo off. Right, and then you just kind of select the area that you want to be separated out. I'm still happy with these little dingleberry groups that it creates. So I'm just going to say merge straight points. Here we go. All right, so you see what I'm doing here, just kind of getting this area that I want to be its own thing. I'm just painting that polygroup on. And one thing that would have been nice with this is if like it just painted it, but that's fine. I mean, another thing you can also do is mask these polygons. I'm sure there's like 100 different ways to do this. I'm sure, Henry, if you're watching, you probably have some light bulbs going on about like a different way of doing this better. But anyway, so here we go. All right, we got another person we got to ban here. All right, goodbye. Add to block scene. Well, I mean, this is you know, you'll see what I'm going to do here. It's going to be pretty cool. Trust me. Once I finish it. All right, so here we go. So I just basically pick the ones that I kind of want to be on one, you know, one surface. Which is going to be this. And then notice here there's like some bleed out going on the other side. So if you hold this and press Alt or Shift, sorry, it absorbs the polygroup that's inside, and then you can just kind of do this to remove these guys over here. All right, so let's say this is what I want here, and I want this to be straight. So the first thing I do is I just go ahead and mask it. So I'm just going to Control click on it. Now it's isolated. I'm going to mask it and then invert the mask. Place my gizmo over here, straighten this out, so now it's straight the way I want it. Just get the angle right and everything like that. And then, I mean, that's kind of done already, but if I even wanted to, oops, but even if I wanted to, I can, again, smooth PG will smooth these corners a bit. And then if I wanted to zero mesh it again, I could just zero mesh it again, and it will respect those edges. Again, I will use my move with AccuCurve just to kind of get those corners back. But yeah, that's another way to just kind of retopologize things to look good. And then if I turn this off and do a, you know, let's subdivide this a couple of times, you'll see that I'm getting some pretty clean edges over here, more or less. I mean, for this kind of shape, I want it to be a little bit organic. I don't want it to be too hard surface. And if I do want some specific hard surface areas, I can always do it that way as well. Yeah, I think it's, you know, I think they're adding enough stuff to upgrade from 2022. You know, I mean, obviously they're a business, so I get it. But yeah, it's going to be worth it to get to the new version. Another thing you can also do, by the way, another nifty trick here, if you didn't know, is if you want to get like the edges to kind of come out with, you know, if you want to get better edges with Zero Mesher, what you can do is you can just add a little bit of a line here with I'm just using Damien Standard here, just like add this to it, right? And then if you zero mesh it, it will detect that. So even if I don't have the polygroups, I'm just going to remove the polygroups and just go to zero mesh here, same thing. You'll notice that it will respect these lines once it does it, I hope. All right, here we go. Wow, yeah, see, you can kind of see that it does have a little bit, I mean, here it's kind of choppy, but most of it, it's kind of recognizing those. And, you know, you can always add another go at it. So just do that. Okay. Okay, and if you ZBrush it again, it will try to kind of follow them. And you can always add the ZBrush guides as well. I mean, there's so many ways to do this. So, I mean, it's not ideal, but also, you know, it's not that bad. It does work. Okay, so anyway, I'm at kind of time. I think I'm just going to stop this here, and then we'll retopo this part when they release the new version with the retopo capabilities. This will be a good one to kind of show you how that would work. Of course, I'm just going by what they've shown in their videos, and they're pretty compelling way of doing it. I think Maya has some good retopology tools with Quad Draw, I think it's called, but this looks like it's going to give it a run for its money. All right, so I think that should do it for this stream. I would like to thank all of you that are watching me live, all of you that are communicating. I really, appreciate it when you do that. I appreciate the questions. I think we got some really good ones today. And the good news is that those questions could be viewed by people watching this on YouTube after the fact. And it's a good way to kind of get the community to basically start and develop and become better ZBrush artists, right? So that's how the ZBrush community has developed over the years. We've all helped each other out, and the ZBrush Summit is a good place where we used to meet. I hope they do it in person again at some point. But anyway, besides that, if you're at Lightbox, come say hi, come to the ZBrush booth, and if you are around, again, there's all these other things coming up. There's the Halloween group stream. There's my personal stream, which are Fridays that I don't stream here, and then there's the Fridays that I stream here. And I'm also going to be in the Sculpt off, so it's going to be an adventure. All right, everyone, thanks for watching, and happy ZBrushing.